All right, information and procedure for transferring oil, gas, lease, interest. Regulation Title 43, Code Federal Regulation 3106, and Title 43, CFR 3135. Lands and National Petroleum Reserve of Alaska governing final transfer. The transfers include recording title overriding royalty, assigns operating right transfers, mergers, name changes, estate transfer, the definition, record title, operating rights, overriding royalty, interest, partial assignments are as follows. Record title, primary ownership of the interest of the oil, gas, lease, include obligation to pay rent with the right to transfer the relinquish of the lease with the overriding royalty, operating rights, and severability with the record title interest. Operating rights and work interest of the contract obligation created out of the lease, referred to as the sublease, authorized holder of the right to enter the lease lands, conduct drilling related operation, including production, overriding royalty interest, to give the interest served over out of the record title interest of the leaser's share of the oil and not charge any of the costs expended with developing operation. The interest provided no control over the operation of the lease, only revenue from the lease production. There's no obligation to pay royalty third parties in addition with the royalty due to the United States. Partial assignments, when the assigner conveys 100% record title interest into the portion of the lands at lease. If it creates the partial assignment segregated the lease into the two separate leases. Normally we assign the new lease number. The conveying of the portion of lease forms could be obtained www.blm.gov. Serve with the National Operations Center's electronic form filing requirements for the various types of transfers as follows. With the assignment with the record title interest. File 3, originally signed and dated copies of the current edition, Form 3003, and the BLM State Office for the Administrator of the machine copies of the original signature for not acceptable. The assigner must originally sign the date all three copies of the assignment. Signees must be originally signed with the date. Only one copy of the request for the approval filed on the reverse side of the assignment. The assignees must date with the request for the approval on and after the date of the assignment with the signature effective October 1st, 2022, you must file with a $105 non-refundable filing fee with each of the assignment. You must file with the assignment within 90 days for the assigners. The date and signature we can process the assignment filed with after the 90 days for the assigner of the assignees. Furnish statement of everything that is still in effect. Two or more assigners may convey with the interest of the more one assignees to the same record with the title. Interest for record, title, and assessment conveys both the record and title operating rights unless the operating rights have been previously severed. Its own same percent of the record title interest as you do with the operating rights. If the interest of the depths of the lease, you only need to file record title is interest conveying all the lease interest. The only different percentage of the interest record title with the operating rights. You need to file both record title with the operating rights transfer to convey all of your interest when providing the following scenarios to help you determine if you need to file with the recorded title assignments, the operating right transfer, or both. Scenario 1. John Smith and Mary Jones can each hold the 50% leasehold interest recording title operating rights and leave with Mary Jones operating rights transfer convey all her for 50% of the operating rights for the service of 9,000 feet with the ABC Oil Company after we approve the transfer interest and the lease are recorded title interest 50% of the John Smith and Mary Jones subject segregated to operation rights for the service of 9,000 feet 50% John Smith 50% ABC Oil Company. John Smith owns 50% of the full leasehold interest recorded title operating rights and all depth. Mary Jones has 50% recorded title interest 50% operating rights from 90,000 feet and below. ABC Oil Company owns 50% operating rights to surface of 9,000 feet. Scenario 2, John Smith, Mary Jones, ABC Company conveying all of their interests. XYZ Corporation would require the following. A record title assigning John Smith conveys the full leasehold interest. A record title assigning Mary Jones conveys record title operating rights from 9,000 feet and below. And operating rights transfer the ABC Company conveying operating rights from the surface of 9,000 feet. Bonding consideration when transferring interest. If you are in transfer of the maintaining bonding for the lease, with the transfer of your lease interest with another party, but the new party must provide with the bond of the Title 43 to FR 310661. Bond is covered required for the lease if they approve the application for the permit of the drill. On the lease, over there, it's not unplugged well on the lease. The lesser, sub-lesser of the operator may provide with the bond and cover the 100% of the liabilities from the lease. If there's more than one lesser, one lesser may provide with the bonding to cover 1% of the liability of the lease. Operator of the ground may provide with the bonding. The operator must furnish the appropriate field off the change of the operator's statement again, agreeing to responsible for the operation conducted with the lease of the portion of the lease. If there's a change to the operator, the new operator must conduct the appropriate fields off with the assertion certain with sundry notice ascensions and with the designation operator forms are necessary. This will expedite with the approval of the assignment. Bonding is required with the NRP. Leases prior to the assignment approval. The trial of transfer operating rights File 3, originally signed, dated copies of the current edition, Form 3003A, with the end of the BLM, state with the Office of the Administrator with the leaf of the machine, copy of the original signature with not acceptable. The transfers must originally sign the date. All 3 copies of the transferees must originally sign the date. Only 1 copy of the request for the approval of the file with the reverse side of the transfer. The transferees must date with the request for the approval on and after the date of the transfer signature. Effective October 1st, 2022, you may file with a $105 non-refundable filing fee for each of the transfer. You must file with the transfer for the 90 day with the transfer date signed with the process for the transfer file with 90 days and transfers and transferees furnished with a statement advising the transfer is still in effect. 2 or more transfers may convey interest in 1 or more transferees from the same operating rights of the transfer. Must show the lease information transfer either by zone to formation or deposit may convey with the various percentage of the interest of the various steps and several sections of the land on a single transfer. For the following example, Section 20 S2 for the operating right of the strip within 900 feet. Section 22 SW operating rights for the 800 feet to depth of 1,000 feet. Assignment overriding royalty may convey with the overriding royalty interest with the assignment of the record title interest Form 3003 with the transfer operating rights Form 3003A with a private assignment, while only requiring filing with a 1 single copy per assignment plus the effective of the October 1st, 2022 with a $15 filing fee for the file more than 1 copy pertaining to the remaining with a copy to the signee. If you file with a private documentation that must include the transferees with executed statement at his or her qualification title 433102 with the Form 3003 and 3003A containing the statement on the reverse side is adjudicated with the proof of the overriding royalty assignments. We date the simple to transfer the upon receipt file with the case file with the validated signer's interest. Mass transfers. The signer of the transfer can make with the mass assignment of the transfer will convey any type of the interest of the large number of the federal lease with the same party with the recommended that you do not file with the mass assessment. Assignment transfer and live the conveying involved more than 10 leases. You should make the filings of the current edition Form 3003 3003A with the extra with exhibit of all the leases involved with each of the 3 original signed with the date. Forms must also submit a single copy of the assignment of the transfer for the appropriate exhibit for the catch each for the effective lease effective October 1st, 2022 with the 105 filing fee for each lease with the company and the assignment transfer. Proof of the original assignment with the transfer assignment the transfer form with the exhibit attached does not indicate whether we approve the assignment of the transfer the adjudicate with each of the assignment the transfer with the individual for lease insurance with the abstract that we approve of each of the assignment the transfer the name the change of the merger. Most file with the following information before you can recognize with the name change of the merger. A list of serial number to leave the officer of the pending assignment the currently held with the prior name, and the list should also include the serial number to leave the unit with the communication assignments of the prior company with the approval of the operator with the maintaining overriding royalty interest. Copy to the secretary each day with the certificate may name change for the merger. A copy of the amendment with the articles of incorporation if available to act effective with October 1st, 2020. File $250 non-refundable filing fee for each name and the change of the merger. Only once if you file the effective evidence. Acceptable evidence will recognize with the name change of the merger for the note with effective file with one of the company file with the interest with another company is named not change or with the merger. You must file with the record title assignment of transfer the operating rights in order to convey the interest of the assigner to the new company. Heirs and devices of an estate. You must submit with the following evidence before with the recognized estate transfer. If probate over the estate limit has been completed with a certified copy with the decree with the distribution, photocopy the certified copy acceptable qualification statement of as citizenship acreage holding with the federal oil and gas lease assigned by each heir, which include qualification statement for you if the probate with the estimate has not been completed, evidence with the authority executed with the administrator with the act on the behalf of the state with there's no will with the law that does not require with the probate and proceeding. Single statement of the heirs confirming that they're only heirs for the deceased. The qualification statement of citizen acreage holding federal oil and gas lease assigned each heir. Effective October 1st, 2022, with you must find the $250 non-refundable fine with the estate transfer included with the list identifying with the state's administrator with the Bureau of State Office, which provisions address the following transfer documents. Provisions pertaining to certain transaction foreign personnel involved with the real estate of the United States with the Office of Investment Security of the Department of Treasury issued with the final rule effective with February 13, 2020 established regulation implementing provision relating to the real estate transaction section 721 of the Defense and Production Act of the 1950 as amended Foreign Investment Risk Review Modernization Act of 2018. The final rule was published in 85 Federal Regulation 3158 January 7, 2020 codified in Title 31 CFR Part 802. The rule sets forth the process relating with the national security review of the comedy with the foreign investment of the United States with a certain transaction referred to as the rule of the covered the real estate transaction involved with the purchase of leaf including with the assessment over the other transfer the concession with a foreign person over the certain real estate with the United States with the covered real estate transaction could include some transaction involved with the federal, mental, and state The Committee on Federal Foreign Investment in the United States were not only neither of the leasers, but also for the legal person within the ability to exercise control of the defined statute implementation regulation over the leasers. The Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States authorized to review the covered real estate transaction, mitigate any of the risk national security of the United States as arise as a result of such transaction. This could result in the modification, suspension, prohibition of lease interest therein. According to the BLM, recommends to each of the potential bidder for the leaser for the other interest holder for the review of the final before bidding acquiring interest for the federal oil gas lease. For the further information, prefer the rules of the Committee on Foreign Investment on the United States, HomeTreasury.gov, policy issue, International Committee on Foreign Investment of the United States, CFI-US, lease serial number, U.S. Department of Interior with the Bureau of Land Management, individual statement, undersigned hereby, certified that he or she legal age of the citizen of the United States, complying with the Title 43, CFR 31, leasing authorities under design charitable interest for the direct and indirect for each of the public domain acquired with the land that does not exceed 240 acres of the federal oil gas lease in the same state, with which not more than 200,000 acres are held under option, are inside compliance with the reclamation requirements of all the federal oil gas lease holdings are required in Section 17G of the Mineral Leasing Act, but is not in violation of Section 41 of this Act. Date and signature. BLM state offices for Alaska, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Arizona, Oregon, Washington, California, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Eastern states, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, all states east of the Mississippi River, Nevada, Bureau of Land, Headquarters, Bureau of Land Management, U.S. Department of Interior, 1849 C Street, Northwest Washington, D.C., 20240, phone number 202-208-3801, fax 202-208-5242. That was information perceived with the transferring oil and gas lease interests.